Hello there. The camera's flat. It's weird. Um, so I was talking to some people on my Discord chat just before I started editing the vlog, and everybody's kind of hype, wondering if Daniel from the RE Resistance or Resistance, whatever you want to call it, opening is like a Wesker clone because one of the one of the things we love in the chat is Wesker. So I've been trying to get footage from the it's not really a trailer, the opening to support or deny because nobody else has access to it at the minute except for the people who have the codes. And again, there's been no NDA agreement, there's been no hush hush, there's been no other communication between the beta testers and Capcom other than to give us the welcome pack, which was again the video and the code for the game. So we've nothing else to go on, and we're all obsessed with Wesker, so I thought I'd have a little look at it. I'm going to react to it live. I've actually seen. Oh, well, it's not really live though, is it? Because I've already seen it technically, because this is my footage. I had to record it. Um, I'll put myself in like a little tiny box up somewhere, and then I'll put the actual video somewhere else. Because it's currently unlisted. Again, there's been no NDA thing, but I don't want to get in trouble and get my beta test version of the game taken off me. So right at the start, we see some dude at a computer looking very Wesker, honestly, really very Wesker. He's got the black gloves, he's got a black coat, he's doing pretty much the exact same thing as Wesker did in 4 and Umbrella Chronicles, where he's sitting at the Red Queen computer, try saying that 5 times fast, just typing things, looking at stuff, scrolling with one finger, and just generally looking like an ass. The next thing we see is the survivors. They all look very what's the word I'm looking for? New meat. There's I don't know any of their names. Their names are online. They're in if you go to the Resistance page on PlayStation and go down to like the what's the word I'm looking for? I have no words today. I don't know what's going on with me. There's like a little box, like a description box. You click on that and it takes you to the Resistance website, and there's like 4 pages telling you how to play the game, and then one telling you about these guys. So there's this blonde girl whose name is January. This dude in the green sweatshirt who's called Tyrone. This girl who looks like Velma. I don't know her name. In the yellow sweatshirt, she reminds me of Rebecca very strongly. And this guy here, whose name also escapes me, I think he's like a football player, but he has a jersey that says Raccoon on it, like Raccoon City, which is apt because it says it takes place in Raccoon City. The next thing we see is Mr. X there. I don't know if you noticed that. Sorry, I'm fiddling around with the buttons while I'm doing this. Mr. X there, for like a split second, so we know that he's in the game, which I don't know how I feel about that because I don't like unkillable baddies. They're just like another form of deadline, like a timer. Like if you really want to have a timer in the game, don't make it punch my throat in. Obviously, we see this not Wesker person who I'm informed is called Daniel, but I'm going to call him not Wesker because I don't have anything else to go on and I refuse to believe Wesker's dead. So here is this guy he's messing around with the survivors. These poor, I think they gotta be college kids because this guy's wearing a Letterman jacket. That's something you get in college, isn't it? In university. I mean, you don't do that here in the UK, but that's like an American thing. They can't be that old. They can't be more than like 20. This just seems very unfair. So not Wesker's flipping a load of switches and he's just locked them in a room and set up a bunch of zombies. Now my footage isn't good enough, but I'm fairly certain one of those zombies has a Raccoon City police officer shield emblem on his shoulder. I'm gonna go back and try and get some better footage because this is only 720. I'm pretty sure I can get it into like 180. And then maybe we'll be able to see better. Lots of zombies popping out of the woodwork that weren't previously there. This reminds me of the first Resident Evil movie where they go through the big open wide area lab part where the lickers are being kept captive in the tanks, and there's no zombies, none whatsoever. Then the lights go down because they killed Red Queen, and then the lights go back up again, and all of a sudden there's zombies everywhere. So these kids don't look very perturbed about the fact that there's zombies everywhere. Oh wow. Okay. Okay, then we get a licker. Do you know what? This liquor looks a lot like the Resident Evil 2 concept art liquor. Like, it doesn't look like a liquor we've seen before. It looks like a new one. If I find the picture that I'm talking about, I'll put it up here somewhere. If I can figure out my new editing software, I'll put it here. So I do know that all the characters have specializations. Right now they're all using different weapons. This girl, January, is using a pistol against the liquor. Well done, you. I don't know why I did that. Tyrone has got a baseball bat. Velma has got a baseball bat with nails in it. I actually think she's the healer character, judging by her special skills. And the dude in the Letterman jacket has a shotgun, but I actually think he might be a melee fighter. So the traps are quite interesting. I'd be interested to know if they are a mechanic that the survivors can deploy or if it's just for asshole not Wesker. These gloves are interesting. This is very like the monster in Evolved, you know, where you can like take control of the monster. You can become the monster that everybody else has to like put a trap around. Mr. X again. Okay, so this is actually the best shot we get of Daniel, believe it or not, where he's just wearing gloves. You can kind of see him in the corner here. He's got like 5 o'clock shadow. So our theory is that it could be a Wesker clone. But if this takes place in Raccoon City, Wesker's just died, so it obviously couldn't be him. Unless it's some sort of alternate timeline or a fake Raccoon City, or maybe they revived Raccoon City specifically for testing purposes. And this could be him. I don't know. I'm kind of reaching because I am such a big fan of Wesker. Okay, I don't know how I feel about the robot eyes for Mr. X. I think that's kind of dumb. Like, Mr. X is pretty frightening on his own. AI controlled. I don't think you need him to be controlled by a player who's just going to try and smash things. I think Mr. X is frightening in that he doesn't actually do that much smashing. He just follows you at a walking pace. So obviously he overshadows all of the survivors, and they're all looking quite ready to throw down with their little baseball bats despite the fact they're going to be killed. That is a very short intro, but because it keeps it short and sweet. Here is another, actually I forgot about this, here is another picture of Daniel zooming in, and then it just goes blurry just before it would be, see if I can get another better shot of that. So it just goes in like just about enough to see him, or at least like a very high contrast picture of him, and then it fades out again. But this actually console is very interesting to me. It probably took a lot of time to put together, and it is very beautiful, but you can see a little umbrella logo down there. So obviously we're back with the Umbrella Corporation. It's got to be back in the timeline before Umbrella was destroyed, or set far enough again in the future, or some alternate timeline where Umbrella wasn't destroyed. There's a little flash here of text that just says, "Welcome to Raccoon City. Here you will be taking over Phase 8 of Human Experiment 1242B in order to gather further data on virus mutation. The subjects have already been acquired and injected with the virus." So that's very similar to the plot of Resident Evil Revelations 2, where Alex Wesker abducts a bunch of people to test them on an island. And it actually gets much closer to Revelations 2 in a wee second when you see this next text bit. It says, taking its sweet time now. There in the little umbrella logo. With our classified research facilities, you will expose them to a series of increasingly violent situations at short intervals to simulate mutation by invoking fear and terror. So not a lot of people I know have played Resident Evil Revelations 2, which is fair enough because it was very underhyped. I only found out about it because I went looking for a Resident Evil game, which was actually Code Veronica, not that one, and I just happened to see it and I was like, oh, why didn't I hear about this? I know many Resident Evil things and I've never heard of this game. So I bought it and played it, and I can kind of see why it flew under the radar because it was part of the Revelations timeline, and it's just okay. It's not main series Resident Evil. It's not to say that it's bad. I actually quite liked it. I really liked raid mode. I played as Wesker, obviously, and had a load of fun with it for ages and ages. But I can see why it flew under the radar. But no, the story of that one is Alex Wesker, who is Wesker's kind of sister. They're not biologically related, but they're in the Wesker Project together, which was like Spencer's ultimate goal to create a new race of superior humans. You know, the whole dialogue thing he does in Lost in Nightmares. that kind of sends Wesker over the edge and forces him to kill him. So Alex was number 12 and Albert Wesker was number 13, and they were the only two that survived. And Alex is the only one that was still alive after Wesker perished. I think this takes place in 2013, Resident Evil Revelations 2. So basically, just before Lost in Nightmares, Alex scarpered and took a load of Spencer's money and researchers with her, and she went to this island in the Russian Caucasus called Shustavani, I think is how you, well, at least how you spell it, I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. And she was working on something that would make her A, immortal, and B, help to cure her terminal illness, because both Alex and Wesker were injected with the prototype virus we're never actually told what it is. But because Wesker was in peak condition before he died, he got superhuman powers, but Alex was on the verge of death whenever she was injected, so she just came back to normal. But obviously her illness has come back because she's not taking the stabilizers like we know Wesker was, and she's dying, and she doesn't know what to do about it, so she's trying to make a virus to help her, and the way she's doing that is through fear. She's got a virus called the T-Phobos virus, which is, Phobos is the Greek word for the god of fear, I think. And basically it causes mutations in people who experience fear, and that's the whole point of her experiment. Just put people on like a deserted island and start scaring the shit out of them. Claire is infected, and Moira, who is Barry Burton's daughter, they're both infected, and Moira will die at the end of the game if she becomes too afraid of her phobia of guns, I think it is. So this is quite interesting that they're running with the fear thing. But I suppose, again, it would make sense why the survivors aren't showing any kind of trepidation, because they would know if they did, they would, mutate. So here's the last little bit of text. Your work here is vital to realising his, capital H, vision. Please proceed with extreme caution. Leave no trace of experimentation and no survivors. We look forward to your results. And then we're zooming in on presumably a couple of survivors in a tank. And then it just cuts back to the main menu. A lot of information in a very, very tight space of time. You can kind of see more of Daniel in the background. You can see the testing area we were just zooming in on. You can see the little umbrella logo. You can see what I believe is the quote-unquote mastermind's like switchboard deck kind of thing from which they would control the game. So what I understand about it is that the mastermind is kind of like the AI director from Left 4 Dead. Basically it's just their job to fuck with the player and stop them from, completing their goals. I don't know the kind of tools in your arsenal or tools in your bag that you have to do that yet. I'm assuming one of them is Mr. X, obviously, because they wouldn't have hyped that otherwise, and the other one would be like setting zombies down in particular areas and making them spawn, or setting traps, or maybe locking doors and stuff like that. So yeah, it's really like the AI director from Left 4 Dead, but it's being controlled by a person. I don't know, I'm excited. I find it strange that if this is, I have a lot of questions about it, if this is main Resident Evil timeline, how did they get the T-Phobos virus when Alex only completes her vision after Wesker dies? And if this is canonically taking place in Raccoon City, that either means A, they've brought Raccoon City back after it was nuked, specifically for Umbrella testing, or this takes place way before main series, in which case, what is the purpose of the fear mutation? I mean, they've already kind of trod that ground. Gameplay wise, it looks pretty standard. I can't see anything particularly new. Like I said earlier in the vlog, it seems to be like a mishmash of the elements that have come from other games that were pretty successful, like 4 players from Left 4 Dead. The AI director is the mastermind. The mastermind player taking control of a monster, so it's like 4v1 kind of thing from Friday the 13th. Evolve as well is another one that springs to mind. Just because the standard doesn't mean it's going to be bad. Like, I mean, FIFA brings in millions every single year. What's the other one I'm trying to think of here that always oh yes, how could I forget about Call of Duty? Oh. Nearly forgot about Call of Duty there. Nearly forgot that existed for one brief, beautiful moment. Yeah, it doesn't look bad. Let me put it that way. I'll reserve judgment for when I actually get my hands on it. Those of you who know who meet me don't know much about my gameplay styles, because I never play with anybody, and that should tell you all you need to know. I am not big on co-op games. If I have to play a co-op game, the person has to be in the room with me so I can tell them to stop dicking around. Don't know how I feel about online players, especially because you don't actually get to pick matchmaking in this. Because it's a closed beta, you can't pick and choose who you want to play with. So that'll be interesting to see if I get stuck with some decent people or if I get stuck with a bunch of hooting morons. No harm to anybody watching this who might get matched up with me. Hi! Don't mean to be rude, but I'm just not big on co-op games. I didn't realise that this was going to be a co-op game. I thought maybe it would be AI. Actually, you know what? I can't even say that because I don't 100% know yet if it's going to be fully co-op. It might be AI, but AI is not as fun as people because people panic and scream and flail and cry whenever something bad happens, whereas AI just does what they're programmed to. I mean, they might mess up and get stuck in a doorway. That's always funny, but they don't react humanly, and that I find that quite enjoyable sometimes. I don't know. We'll see. Friday can't come soon enough. Sorry, my camera kind of jolted there before I came back. One more thought. Do you get to play as the mastermind? Can beta players play as the mastermind like you can in Evolved? Or will this be, the mastermind is always going to be the AI director? Because I'd be more interested in playing as the mastermind, ruining other people's days, than I would be as actually playing as one of the people who get their days ruined, because it's 1 versus 4 technically, and I would rather be the 1 versus the 4 than part of the 4 who are all kind of fighting to work together, if that makes sense. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see come tomorrow. Actually, no, what time is it? See come Friday.